Director Decker,
Here.
Director Young,
Here.
Director Boyd,
Here.
Director Slater Carter.
Present.
And Director Sofke may be here shortly, we hope.
Yes, we hope.
Okay. All right, for president's statement, we have rain. It's pretty great. We need a lot more. We're only about a third of the way to a good water year. But we're grateful to have what we have, and just as grateful to have the crew that is responsive, both a water and sewer crews, both taking care of things when the weather is getting really intense, and when the weather's really intense, while we're probably dry at home, these folks may be out in the weather taking care of urgent things that that crop up. So we're really grateful for both sets of teams. Clemens, you had a comment?
Yeah, thank you, Scott, for highlighting this exciting and scary time at the same time for us. I know that a lot of folks in the community are watching our online rain gauge. And I do want to point out that if you're on the balance site looking at our rain gauge, there is actually a link to our second rain gauge. So we have two rain gauges up and running. I want everybody to understand this because one of them is a little bit, the trees around the treatment plant have been growing, so they are a little shading that first rain gauge, both from potentially from rain, but also from actually reception. So that's why we have a lot of connectivity problems out there. So the better rain gauge to look at real time is really the new rain gauge that we put up at the Alta Vista tank. And that has been running since about a year in parallel. So now we are ready to switch fully to that rain gauge at one point, but we will make an announcement about that, of course.
And
Just want everybody.
I see one for Montara Beach as well, the NOAA rain gauge. It's
Well,
also linked to the balance site.
It's not Montara Beach, it is Montara Water and Sanitary District property, okay? So this is on,
It's right over there.
Right there.
yeah, right there. It's on the MWSD property right here. Yes,
Oh, this is great. I didn't realize we had a second station to back up the balance station, so that's terrific.
yes, so we have, that's the MWSD rain gauge, and we have the third one, and that's the official NOAA down here as we finish up, yes. Thank you, Scott, again.
All right, well,
Bringing
thanks,
this up.
Thomas. Let's go to oral comments. Do we have any oral comments? Let's record show Director Sofke has arrived. And so now we have a full complement of directors at the board table. Let's go to oral comments. Do we have any oral comments for items that are not on the agenda?
He's looking on Zoom.
Oh, hi.
It's not on the agenda, but I did attend the Board of Supervisors meeting on Tuesday, and they approved the fourth amendment to the Big Wave Development Agreement. So apparently they're building one commercial building and part of the wellness center simultaneously. So maybe we'll get some income from that, who knows? And the Parks Department finalized the bridge over San Vicente Creek at Fitzgerald Marine Reserve. However, erosion has taken place at Miranda Surf West Trail, and we paid for some of that from our Mid-Coast mitigation funds years and years ago. And then I went to the Chamber State of the Coast Side meeting, and everyone gave their updates, but I started to make notes so we could prepare them and give them to at this meeting. And that's when the water guys came to my house and disconnected my internet while I was trying to work at home. So I'll do it next time.
All right, thank you, Sid. Catherine?
I just wanted to know for folks who are interested, if you go to our website under latest news, there's Montara Water and Sanitary District statement on continued costs to coastside residents of the 6th District Court of Appeals decision in the city of Half Moon Bay, the Renata Services District, Montara Water and sanitary district. It's, the headline here says sewer.
Oh.
But it's a small technical difference. Because the sewer district doesn't handle trash and other forms and recycling, so. We are a broader public health district than just sewer. But anyway, it's a well-written article and, rather than relying on the, newspapers and so on, this one is actually in depth.
Dr. Salke?
And I've got something, it's only a couple minutes worth, but over the last month, I've gotten links from two different people I respect a lot about an article. Which was essentially scientifically evaluating how well people can understand things from printed matter versus from screens. It's like a factor of 400%. And so, and now there's another article out in the last week about how kids learn better by actually writing with their hands rather than typing. So somewhere in our decisions over the next many months about how we communicate in person versus by laptop versus by paper versus other ways, we're going to have to include the latest understandings of how human nervous systems actually do this. And so decisions about whether we won't print anything on paper, I hope will be revisited based on new understandings of what we're paying for when we try to save that money.
All right, thank you. All right. Well, let's move on to the consent agenda. And do we have any director who wishes to pull any consent agenda items for consideration, or are we ready to take them as a whole?
Is that 1 through 10?
Yep.
Can I ask Clemens a quick question? I noticed on item 7, our water production had gone down for December. Is there a good reason for that? It seemed like we probably got a little rain in December. We just don't produce as much water when it's raining, or how come that is?
Let's take a look at.
Oh,
what
I'm sorry.
she's saying.
Okay,
What I've been told is that when we have more water coming down out of the sky, we produce less water because people don't need to run it out their hoses, and what the water production is about is our use.
I see.
Not our,
So our well is on demand up there?
everything is on.
I see.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay,
One
that makes
one
sense.
way to think about it is we serve out of our water tanks. And we produce to keep the water tanks at an appropriate level. So if there's less demand, there's less need to spend the electricity and run the pumps and do all the filtration to bring in, water to fill.
That
the
makes
tanks up.
sense. That makes sense. Thank you for letting me know.
So thanks to Catherine and Scott for responding that the weather is the culprit, and I have to add to this that we're probably one of the agencies that sees the least fluctuation in production. I think because we don't have commercials that are seasonal. We have a very stable climate. So looking at other agencies' productions charts, they fluctuate way more. Our consumption is very stable throughout the year, or through COVID, or whatever comes. We hardly see any increase or decrease. It's very stable. Water consumption.
I think it'd be fair to say too, that our community is exceptional at, conserving in terms of outdoor water use. So many people have planted things that don't need lots of outdoor watering, and so even during the hot weather months, we don't see the kind of radical increase in use that other areas do. Clemens, do you happen to know offhand our current per person per day consumption rate?
We're around the 57 gallon per capita per day number.
Yeah, and this is interesting because our community is so good at conserving water that when the state is in crisis, there's often talk about we should make everybody conserve 20%. And our whole community is like, we did that 15, 20 years ago.
We kept it.
Right, and so, you know, let's pat ourselves on the back and be thinking about ways that perhaps we can conserve even more, because a lot of that's not gonna get any easier, but it is good to get an appreciation for why we produce the water and why it doesn't change a lot. And, you know, this is all really good to know.
And
Great questions.
it's, you may see some similar numbers along the coast side. For example, San Francisco has a very similar per capita usage. However, San Francisco is not a rural, in a rural setting. It's a city environment with no gardens. So I think it's really important to understand and point out how conscious our population is when it comes to water consumption.
All right. Oh, good questions. Are we ready to have a motion on the consent agenda?
I move that we approve items 1 through 10, which include minutes, financial statements, warrants, SAM flow report, always good reading, monthly review of current investment portfolio, connection permit applications received, monthly water production report, that's number 7, and what Sid was talking about. The rain report, which is always interesting to see because you can see all the different districts and how the rain affects our flows. Monthly solar energy report and monthly public agency retirement service report for November 2023.
The good news about item 10 is that Paris has actually done very much better.
Oh, that's good news.
We have an action paid.
So we're starting to see the trailing indicator catch up. Yeah. So for the audience, PARS is the this is for the retirement, right?
Public agency retirement service.
Right. And so when we got our last audit report, the numbers were a little bit weak, but they were reflecting prior years of the economy. And so it always trails. And for the past couple of years, the economy has been getting stronger, and it's now showing in the numbers that impact the reserves for the retirement fund.
So instead of a loss, we have now gain.
Well, that's great. We were anticipating that. It's nice to see that actually come to fruition. Okay, we have a motion and a second, Catherine and Bill, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries 5-0. The consent agenda is approved.
Scott, I
Yes.
forgot to make one announcement. Do you mind if I make it quickly?
Sure.
Saturday is the Recology Quarterly Recycling Day at Fairlawn View School. From 8 to noon,
8 to noon.
1100 LeConte.
Right?
Well, everyone knows where the school is, but that 8 to noon matters. But the way I work, right around 12:30, I'm like, oh man. So
Well, my item's already in the back of my car.
okay, so Saturday morning for all of you.
And not everyone knows where it is, so,
Mm.
you know, most people with kids probably knew.
Yeah.
But anyway, and also you do have to bring your driver's license to prove you're a member of the district.
They've been checking.
I don't know, last time, I haven't gone the last few
Yeah.
times, but they did
Okay.
check.
They're checking.
Yeah.
absolutely.
They must know me then.
They've got your picture up on the
Yeah.
wall.
Yeah. Sometimes I wonder.
Sorry, I forgot to mention that earlier.
Dartboard maybe. All right, let's go to, thank you for that, Sid. New business item 1, review and possible action concerning sewer authority mid-coast fiscal year 23-24 budget amendment.
Yeah, thank you very much. So we at the last Sewer Authority Mid-Coast side, we're gonna say SAM board meeting. The SAM board authorized the distribution of a budget amendment to all of its member agencies, the city of Half Moon Bay, Grenada, and Montara. The Sewer Authority Mid-Coast side is asking for around $2.1 million additional dollars to this current 23-24 year's budget. Of these $2.1 million, $412,000 will come from MWSD. And the way Sam uses these funds is essentially, there's gonna be around $780,000 that are going to the design of the Montara section of the Sewer Authority Mid-Coast Side Force Main. That is the new design. And the remaining $1.34 million are collected to essentially supplement the already approved $1.2 million for the rehabilitation of the Princeton Pump Station. These two tasks are related to a requirement that's coming from a lawsuit from the Environmental Rights Foundation that Sam was subject to, and have to be completed in accordance to a specific timeline. Fortunately, Sewer Authority Mid-Coast was not able to complete this timeline when it passed the first time. So I want to thank Keishan for renegotiating the timeline, so we have more time to get these projects done. A big portion of these funds that are now that we're being asked to collect it were already put in the budget. Sam management wanted to collect those already as essentially the need is there to complete these tasks on the specific timeline. However, that was removed out of the budget. The city of Half Moon Bay would not approve this budget without these things, without these funds removed. With the statement that the outcome of the latest legal action would solve the questions of payments. Well, that has not happened, as was pretty obvious at the time already. So here we are, last minute. Again, Sam is asking for the dollars. So we, of course, already adopted the budget the first time around with the funds in it. So here we are again adopting, hopefully, this budget amendment as the first member agency. So the recommendation is to adopt a resolution of the Montara Water and Sanitary District consenting to approval by the Sewer Authority Mid-Coast side of an amendment to its general budget for the fiscal year 23-24. Thank you.
All right.
Can I ask him a question?
Let me just check the audience to see if we have any questions. I'll look again, so if any questions come up, raise your hand, but in the meantime.
I forgot to mention that Keishan Prashtivati is here, the general manager
Oh,
of Sewer Authority Coast side, who can answer questions and comment as well.
Okay, great. Always glad to have Keishan with us. Let's go to Sid.
So does this mean, Clemens, that the other two districts still have to approve kicking in some money too?
It's my understanding that the actions will be brought to the two other member. The action that Sam is asking for here is being brought to the two other member agencies.
Okay.
Yes.
So they may or may not decide to contribute again. Is that the idea? We're just gonna approve it for our own and see where it goes.
I'm gonna frame it this way.
Okay.
We often take the first move
Yeah.
to approve the things that Sam needs.
Sure.
It's kind of become the lot has fallen to us to be leadership on that. And I think we're happy to lead on that.
Yeah.
And use the opportunity to encourage our colleagues to join us in this. It's not a question of whether to fund this. Sam already agreed in the lawsuit to do these things. Time to step up and make good.
That's the ERF lawsuit.
Yes, the
Yeah.
ERF lawsuit. Which, by the way, I mean, that lawsuit is basically saying to Sam, do your job. And who's in disagreement with that? Right? And we look at that and go, yeah, and we don't like being under the threat of a lawsuit. That's no fun, but
Needs to be done.
the events that led to that happened on our watch, but you have joined more recently, but on the agency's watch. These are real things. We have to contend with this, and what we know is our infrastructure needs support, and we're happy to do it. And I think we're especially happy that working things out with ERF, we were able to put the money into things that really need to be done. These aren't going to fines and other things that would be less productive in the service of our duty. So, yeah, we're first. Hey, look, we get to be first again.
Yeah,
And then we'll hope for the best and
okay.
I don't see any hands up.
I see Keishan. Keishan, did you care to make a comment?
Yes, thank you very much, Scott. Although Clemens and Scott have given a good background of the project where we are in right now, I just wanted to add a couple of things. Now, it all started with ERF, which is Ecological Rights Foundation. They had filed a lawsuit against SAM a couple of years back, and then a consent decree was signed. The consent decree was further amended last year, and they have certain timelines which we have to adopt. And these are pertaining to these two projects, which are now mentioned in the media budget adjustment. The first of it is Princeton Pump Station Rehabilitation Project. And the timeline, according to the consent decree, which has been signed with the ERF, is that it has to be completed by June 30th, 2024. And the second one, which is the Montara Force Main, the timelines are that by December 31st, 2024, we have to complete the final design for the entire Montara Force Main. And subsequently, the next timeline is December 31st, 2025, wherein we have to complete 7,500 additional linear feet. And by June 30th, 2026, the entire Montara Force Main has to be replaced. So these are all the timelines. So any slip up in the first timeline upsets everything else, you know about it. So coming to the first one, the Princeton Pump Station Rehabilitation Project. This project was actually approved by the SAM board in 22-23 budget for about $1.26 million. And subsequently, as we started getting into the design of the pump station, we realized that there are a lot of things which are falling apart in the Princeton pump station, and the scope of the work began to increase. We wanted to replace the control panel, the flow meters, the surge tank. A lot of things got added. And that's why the project cost shot up. And we are now here at about 2.6 million. So we do have an approval of about 1.26 from SAM board. We've been receiving funding also from the member agencies for the 1.26 million. Rather, we've received it already. So the balance of about 1.34, as Clemens explained, is what we are short of, and which is projected in the media budget adjustment calculation in the sheet that has been provided to you. The second project, which is the Montara Force Main design, I'm sorry, I forgot to tell that for the Princeton Pump Station, we awarded the contract to the contractor in August, although SAM board took a decision at that point of time because it was not funded. The motion failed and it did not get funded, but SAM staff was assured by the SAM board that it'll be funded in January. So we went ahead and awarded the contract to the contractor. So right now the contractor is in full swing, moving ahead with the project. He would be mobilizing, starting work in the month of February. You can see a lot of action going on at the Princeton pump station. And it is partially funded. So SAM staff have emphasized to the SAM board that it is imperative that we fund the project completely. Otherwise, we will end up into another lawsuit from the contractor if we do not have funds to finance the project because the project has already started. So that's critical for the Princeton pump station. Now for the Montara Force Main, it is a design as it's required to be done by December 31st, 2024. The timeline for completing all these various things in design like the surveying, the CEQA, the geotech, and the final design, everything is about 10 to 12 months. with great difficulty, we'll be able to finish it in 12 months' time. And therefore, it was brought to the SAM board in the last meeting, and it was then recommended that we bring the budget adjustment, media budget adjustment, because the total cost is about 783,000, which includes the design services by SRT consultants for 448,100, and then the others are estimated costs of surveying, CEQA, and geotech. So this is also important that we do the budget adjustment now, otherwise we will not be able to comply with the timeline. So this urgent requirement or the timeline requirement has already been communicated to the member agencies, and as I understand, Half Moon Bay is planning on taking it up at the council meeting on February 6th, and GCSD probably on February 15th. And I'm here to answer any questions. I just wanted to give you guys a background. Thank you.
Thank you for that background, Keishan. Catherine?
I would like to encourage everyone who is watching this meeting to call the other two agencies who have already agreed to fund this and suggest strongly that it is important for the public health and safety of our beaches and our coastline, and we need to get these projects done. They have been delayed, some for decades. And with that, I see no more hands. I'm gonna make a motion to approve the next resolution in order to fund this budget amendment.
The 2.122692 amendment.
Yes.
And we have plenty of money to fund our share.
Plenty of money.
That's not a question.
We have the funds.
Okay, that's all I want to know.
So when you see the recommendation from the general manager, if there were insufficient funds, he would most assuredly cross that out.
Oh, good.
No, and I will say, MWSD has been planning for this for a very long time. Peter, Clemens, and the rest of the board, we have been making these rate adjustments, so we have the money to do it.
And we have to comply with the ERF lawsuit one way or the other, so we might as well. Right?
Exactly.
Okay,
Well, there is a giant penalty
Yeah.
luring in the background that when EPA or the State Water Quality Control Board didn't
let's hope not.
And we have a settlement agreement with ERF.
Yeah.
And best if we hold up our end.
Yeah.
And it's our job anyway, and we want to do it.
And we
So,
want to be first.
you know.
So I move we go ahead, or.
So
Oh, yeah,
that's a
I'll
second.
second, sorry.
All right.
Sorry about
So
that.
Catherine with the motion, Sid with the second. All in favor? It's a resolution.
Let's go.
Let's do a roll call.
Decker, Peter Decker, yes.
Director Decker is, Director Young,
Yes,
Director Boyd,
Yes.
Director Slater Carter,
Of course.
Director Softkey.
Yes.
Okay, motion
Okay.
carries 5-0.
Thank you very much, Clemens. And thank you very much,
Thank you.
Keishan and team for helping put this together. Thank you to both Peters, because keeping it on the money makes it much easier to answer the questions that you raised.
And I'd like to ask Keishan a question. He's still there? Yes.
Yes.
Please announce to our board and public at large the huge award that our staff earned. It's so important that our staff at SAM has been so meticulous about making sure they get their jobs done safely. So, and I don't want to steal your thunder because you and the staff do it.
Yep, thank you very much, Catherine. Yeah, I'm so glad to announce that we've been awarded the Workers' Compensation Excellence Award this year. And this is, we are one of the 4 agencies in the entire California that has got this award. 2 in Southern California and 2 in this area. So this award entails us for a plaque, a banner, plus each one of the employees gets a cash award, like a credit card, like a personalized credit card, which they can use for anything. And we had won it 2 years back, and we got about $275 each person. So probably that would be the amount that we are expecting, 250, 275. each one of them, they can use it for anything and with their name on the credit card. So I'm so glad that we won that, and the staff is very happy. They put in a lot of effort to get this prize. And the basic qualification to even apply for this award is there should be no injury related to back or anything at all in the plant for the complete calendar year that one would be applying for. So we went ahead. Besides that, we had to put in a lot of standard orders, risks. I mean, the risks and how we would overcome these risks, and a lot of literally 150-page document had to be submitted, and staff had to work on it, and we did it well in advance. So I'm proud to say that me and my staff got that award. Thank you very much.
And I will tell you that having been a business owner, if you can keep your accidents down, your workers' comp rates go down. So these guys have been making SAM even more efficient in the way it spends its money by being so thoughtful and careful. And I'm just, yay, and wonderful.
And one more thing, it reflects a safety culture, and keeping our team safe is one of the highest priorities. So congratulations and well done, team. Very good.
Thank you very much.
We interject that.
Oh, no, that's terrific. I didn't know that, and I'm really glad you brought it up. Okay, thank you, Keishan. Let's move on to item 2, review the December 31, 2023 mid-year budget versus actual.
I want to thank Peter Medina, our accountant, for preparing this report. And Peter, you can just share the highlights of our 6 months mid-budget, mid-year budget review.
Oh, you're throwing me off there. You usually speak on it for a few minutes and steal all the thunder, but I guess I can do it myself. No, this is just maintaining our normal cadence for reporting mid-year. I said this leads right into our budget season, which we've worked on the pro forma, and we'll start gathering the data for. I said we have 6 months worth now, and we will continue to month by month just accumulate the data, organize it, and then begin to work through the meetings and project out and come up with the 24-25 budget. So you have the report in front of you. I'm going to share my screen and really kind of just go over the highlights. I'll just kind of do it. But you guys have had a chance to review. And what we're going, or in my mind, what we're looking for here, 50%. We're midway through the year, so if we're very far off one way or the other, why? And going through here, we saw for the most part we're there. The big number here you'll see is the 739, and what that represents is the grant that we received from Cal OES and FEMA, which was applied for in conjunction with SRT and SAM for their winter storm damage that impacted the plants. And so what this represents is basically the full grossing of that grant. What you see down here is kind of buried, though, is the full remittance back to SAM. As we talked about in the last agenda item, we adopted the budget that was the first draft, if you will, of the SAM budget, which contained the higher CIP figures, which was later adjusted, but we had already gone through the process of adopting our budget. So this is a bit muddled. You don't really see it, but we've grossed up both sides and done the remission. So that's what you'll see here. Like I said, that's the big fluctuation here. Other than that, we've been on track. Property tax, you said the discrepancy here is basically ERAF. We do not budget to receive ERAF, but we do receive it. So that's why this is off. On the expenditure side, I said, okay, we're for the personnel piece, which is the largest area, 50%. And then so the other is we've lagged below. Some may catch up as we move forward. The other big piece that we have here is interest income. We see it both on water and sewer. Both Camp and Lake are performing far better than they have in last 3 or 4 years. So that's where that large increase comes from. The not good to put names on like that, but capital improvement program, I talk about it with Clemens quite a bit as far as we are lagging behind for where we anticipate us to be as far as the budget that we've adopted and the projects that we foresee going forward with, but they just haven't really come off, and that goes for both water and sewer. So I said those are the big pieces in the normal view that you guys are used to seeing. Catch-up fees, I said we are above, we are tracking above, so that's fine. Then debt, those are all planned out. We all have those. We're at 50%. The difference here is basically timing as far as the accrual payment. We just paid as of today, actually, the Geo bond was paid today. That's due on 2/1 and 8/1. So that's not in here, but that took place as of today. So that's our sewer fund. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay, moving forward. Water. Same view, water fund. So oh, okay. Greg, I see you. Yes, please.
No, I don't want to interrupt. I'll ask my
Okay.
question
All
at the
right.
end.
Very good. Okay. So now going to water, water sales, 6% increase going into this year. We're tracking. A lot of this has to do with timing as far as the 2-month period and collection. So this gets squared up at fiscal year end with the accrual. So this doesn't disturb me at all. Same property tax split 50-50. Going through the expenditures, I said we're pretty close here. 50% for personnel. This is our big expense item. And then I said we're doing pretty well. Outside of that, once again, so our water reserves are held within Camp, and Camp is performing, I would say, significantly better than LAIF, 5.5%, as opposed to, I believe, LAIF just cracked 4% this past month. So
For the folks who are watching who don't know all this jargon,
sorry.
LAIF is what and Camp is
Local Agency Investment Fund, LAIF. That is historically been one of the larger, well, it really is, it still is, for local agencies in California. Their investment pot, it's liquid and safe. So that's been the major investment for most all local agencies. Camp, California Asset Management Program, is a very similar program. So just once again, safety and liquidity. Agencies pulling their funds together to have investment that they can access fairly regularly. So thank you, Catherine.
Peter,
so-
you may also point out that the $6.5 million that is now sitting in the Wells Fargo operating account as of the end of December will be partially moved to Camp and LAIF to make use of the higher interest.
No, I said we've been having discussions on just that point for, yes, we've seen the balance grow and grow and grow. And there's factors to that we've been trying to weigh, but at this stage, I said it's kind of screaming at us that we need to make a change. And so that's happening. We expect that this will happen either more likely early next week, that a big chunk of our funds in our operating account will be moved over to both LAIF and Camp. Because I said we are seeing these larger rates of return. So I said it's too large to not take advantage of. And so yes, we are doing so, working with Clemens and staff to figure out the amounts and the allocation, and then so further working with staff to work through the process of the transfer, because I said we have our own internal procedures for just the safety of that. So I said yes, thank you, Director Decker. That is happening, and said it's good to highlight it, but also too said I know it's screaming at us, and so making that change it's good. So the big part of that, though, is because I said we did receive a very large chunk of money in December. We received 50% of sales tax, water revenue. Oh, sorry, not water, sewer service charges and water reliability. That all comes in December. So December is a very big month of revenue. The rest of it comes in late February, March, April, and then by the end of it, we'll accrue the rest in July, August timeframe.
Peter,
So
you said
yes.
sales tax. Did you mean property tax in December?
I'm sorry if I said sales tax. Yes, I meant
Thank
property tax.
Okay.
Yes, no, we do not receive sales tax.
We get sales tax.
Oh,
Thank you.
gosh. I'm sorry. Okay, so moving forward, so once again, water reliability charges at 50%. This was mainly collected in December. The GO bond has said this is also comes to the property tax roll. What else here? I said, once again, 4.72%. We're just not moving forward with the project. So it's something that we are working on. Debt service, 50%. Okay. So that's budget versus actual for the fiscal year. I contain the rest of it. I said I always like this one. This is just the comparison for last fiscal year at this time of year. So I just kind of need to see that comparison basis. So I've done that for both water and sewer. So any questions there, and then all the rest of it is basically just the complete raw data that we have that we use to produce these reports. Yeah, I said it's kind of neat in a way, as far as for as many years as it goes back, to be able to kind of have this information and show, see line items like general legal litigation and see the way that they've fluctuated over the years. It's eye-opening. So with that, like I said, it's all data sheets after here. So I'll open it up to any questions that you guys may have. These are our roll-ups for sorry, just go so fast, for this sheet here. Okay. I'm gonna keep the share up, but Greg, please.
This question is probably more for Kishan if he's able to answer it.
I know that.
I remember when I was chasing around trying to get local agencies to participate in the local hazard mitigation fund and fill out the applications. And one of our sister agencies declined. I remember a director saying to me, well, it's a lot of work and you never get any money out of it. It's not worth the time. But Montara took the leadership. Tanya did a good job. You can see how well it was presented if you look at the filing. And so we got that money to recover from a disaster that coincidentally happened within about a year. But I'm curious whether the money we got comes close to the actual damages that the sand plant encountered as a result of the overflows from the creek and the extra I&I. I'm wondering if if we've been made whole or there's more to come, and if Kishan can answer that, whether we have anything else hanging, I would love to know.
Yes, Greg, there are many more projects which are being discussed at FEMA, so it's still in progress. We are expecting more funding to come. This is not the end of it. There are various stages. We've been going back and forth. Some questions are being asked. And in fact, we also had a meeting today. So they're wrapping up a couple of things. They've all been split up into several categories. So 2 categories have been cleared and we got that funding. We still have another 4 categories, I think, which they are evaluating. Thank you.
Could I ask Peter a question?
Yes.
Peter, how much did we spend last year on our celebration, our anniversary celebration? I didn't really see it listed here.
Okay, so gosh, put me on the spot here. I do have the detail open over here. We split it between both funds. It hit a number of different categories. It wasn't just one account that said here. It was I don't want to pause too long. Would you mind if I figured out the whole entire amount and sent you maybe just later this evening?
Sure.
Because I have the data. I'll gather it relatively quickly. I don't want to have you guys wait.
It's just not a line item on here specific.
No,
Okay,
no,
thank
no, it's well, I said it's not within, these are the larger categories. A lot of it is, if you go into here, we have it we have this other administrative category, we have reimbursements category for it. We parse it out.
Okay,
Correct me if I'm wrong, Keishan, but I think that we had a $750,000 check and a $250,000 check at SAM. And reimbursement for the damage, which is about $1 million. And I think the total damage was about $1.5 million. So we still have another $500,000 to go. Is that correct?
Those more.
Correction, Director Decker, it's actually the 750 was only for the winter storm damages. The 250 was a bus truck damage, which is totally different item, and that we got it from insurance. From FEMA, we got only 750 plus.
But the total damage was $1.5 million, right?
Yeah, the total damage is 1.5 out of which we've got a slightly more than half.
Okay.
Did it clarify, Peter?
Yes, yes, you did. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, see no more hands. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Keishan. Very informative. Really glad to see it on this cadence, and that at mid-year, getting to check in to see how the year is going financially. It's very good to be on top of this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Let's go now to the next item on the agenda: review and possible action concerning nomination of representative for Aqua, Association of California Water Agencies,
Yes.
Region 5 Board.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. Very excited that Bill Softby, Director Softby, is willing to step up to the plate and throw his hat in for the open seat, for one of the open seat at the local Region 5 section of the Association of California Water Agencies. And there is essentially a resolution that we have to pass and an application that Bill has to file. And we are asking to adopt the resolution. I just want to briefly say we had Bob Potasic, our director that was serving here for a very long time, was active at Region 5 in Aqua, also for a very long time, I believe for over a decade. He was director at the Association of California Water Agencies, Region 5. So I think that would be terrific if we get our foot in the door through Bill, and hopefully it will work with the first application, but if not, there's more seats coming up, of course. So again, recommendation to adopt resolution of the Montara Water and Sanitary District placing a nomination Bill Softby as a member of the Association of California Water Agencies Region 5 board member.
So moved.
Have a second?
yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so I saw a lot of nodding, so I'm gonna guess what the well, I heard Peter. I'm gonna guess how the vote's gonna go. All in favor?
Myself, yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries 5-0.
And that just means if he gets elected, we're nominating him, but he doesn't get elected unless they vote him in.
Oh, that's right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also he has to attend board meetings and stuff.
Oh, there's a lot of work involved. Yeah.
Okay, good luck.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this is exciting. It's been
Tough job, but you're up to it.
it was always great for such a small agency as ours. Bob was such a big presence there, really got involved, and that was very helpful for the people of our district that he was so involved there, because we get some leverage through meeting lots of people, exchanging ideas, getting help on this and that. So where we can, that kind of outreach is really, really helpful. So thank you for stepping up for that.
It's also very useful to have somebody representing a small district, because the usual electeds to Aqua tend to be like San Francisco PUC and Orange County and.
I would love to be a scientist who just understands how like fluid moves to and fro.
Well, one of the things that I hope you will keep an eye on, and it's something Scott's brought up for a long time, is in this, toilet to tap water. They're discovering more and more and more untreatable pollutants. And I was just reading an article that in bottled water, there's all kinds of microplastics in it.
Huh, wow.
So when you're consolidating through the treatment process, I'm curious how much more concentrations of the pharmaceuticals and microplastics and other teeny pollutants are going to be going into the water.
Very good question.
I just read that by 2030, I'm bad on dates. LA wants to have 60% of its water toilet to tap.
We can understand why they want to do it. I think our concern is that as these things progress, that we be as safe about it as we can. So, with that said, let's move on to reports. Sewer Authority Midcoast side. Anything additional?
Nothing additional,
You always say that and then you tell us more. I'm gonna actually believe you and
I'll
move on
let
to the next.
Peter, I'll let Peter add, but the really important thing is getting this budget amendment passed.
Yeah. All right.
That's absolutely critical, and then the award for the workers' comp is just huge. And I hope you bring in all kinds of pizza and cake and balloons and stuff.
Yeah, you can do that.
I bring the candy. And, so
Kath-
yeah,
Catherine, who did the safety award come from?
the,
Is that CSRMA or is that?
yeah,
Yes. CSRMA.
There
That is
oh, wow.
California.
It's
Already.
the group that underwrites the insurance for the workers' comp.
Okay.
So they see the direct financial benefit. I want to stay focused on keeping our people safe is really important. And when the insurer says you're doing a great job, they have a way to measure it. But and people rarely celebrate when nothing bad happens. But this is actually a moment to celebrate because nothing bad happened, but that doesn't
that's
happen. That doesn't happen by accident.
Right.
Yeah.
It happens by no access.
We have many of the employees participating in safety programs.
That's
They're
right.
both online as well as in person.
It takes a lot of work to build a safety culture and to maintain a safety culture. It's so easy to not. And the inaction is reflected in higher rates and higher accident rates. And that Sam was able to establish the demonstrable pattern of being safe is a good reflection on the crew and their training and their diligence and the support that they get from management and from the board. And that's why we kind of go a little over the top at making a big deal about this, because it is a rare moment to celebrate nothing bad happened.
And can MWSD get such an award as well?
We just brought one to the last board meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry. Good.
Yeah.
We didn't
Are with
celebrate as much,
Aqua
I guess.
APIA, and we just received the
Okay.
excellent award and brought it to the last board meeting.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Both agencies have quite a good history, and it's worth taking a moment to enjoy that and to praise their work.
Thanks.
All right, Maco's Community Council.
right,
Greg, do you have
Yeah.
anything?
Yeah, I do have a few things. Many of you are probably aware that we're remodeling the schools. The El Granada School is being remodeled and an upgrade to the fire station has been proposed. It's probably of less import to folks here in Montara, but we've forwarded some extensive comments to planning. The major issue in both projects seems to be the brightness of the lights and the failure to adhere to dark skies that they did in the El Granada fire station last time. So we don't want that to happen in Moss Beach on the fire station that we just commented on. I do want to take a minute to mention that the Coastal Commission is going to be holding a hearing on February 9th regarding the project to extend the middle mile broadband network. That's the fiber cable for internet down the coast side. You may remember they pulled us out of the project. We had to fight, get a letter to Governor Newsom with the help of Congresswoman Eshoo and Senator Becker and Assemblyman Berman, and they put us back in. And now we're not only in, but they're also going to run the fiber from Half Moon Bay across 92 over to Highway 35. So we're going to get more of a loop than just a spur coming down from Pacifica. So we wrote a letter of support, and I believe I copied everybody and their mother, asking all other local agencies to piggyback and register with the Coastal Commission their support. That doesn't mean anything's going to happen. We still haven't heard from the county about our desire for a feasibility study to fund a feasibility study to study formation of a local community broadband entity. But at least we'll have the backbone, and maybe in a couple of years that it'll take to get the backbone formed, we can move ahead with improving our actual local internet and cell service. On an administrative note, I'll point out we canceled the February 14th meeting of the MCC. We will be having the retreat where we consider Midcoast priorities the following Wednesday on the 21st, and we'll resume our regular meeting on February 28th. And I'm happy to answer any questions. I know some people have sent me other questions, but if the group has anything, ask away.
Catherine?
Yeah, Greg, has the MCC put this funding of these SAM projects on their agenda for discussion to help the community become aware of the incredible need we have for this?
We have not, but a related issue is going to come up, which I've mentioned before. We've been meaning to produce a stormwater report. And while we're not experts, we've talked to a lot of people, and the county is beginning a project in San Bruno and Pescadero to fund stormwater improvements, and to do so with a kind of regional planning emphasis. You can understand that the watersheds don't necessarily fit in just one city or town's jurisdiction. So I view what the City and County Association of Governments, CCAG, and Reed Bogart are doing as an important step. They're filing a grant application. However, it's leaving us out. And so we're going to produce our own homegrown stormwater assessment. And I look forward to any feedback when I've circulated a draft from your district, Granada, Half Moon Bay, or SAM. And in fact, an interesting piece of that is going to be a study that SAM is undertaking now to study the inflows that have occurred at the plant in a couple of Decembers where it was overflowed and it wasn't just the creek. And so the stormwater, which I believe that report is going to show, is going to indicate the need for more infrastructure to save the plant. And that will be in our report, and that may bring this issue to the attention of the council. That's all I could say at this time.
Thank you. I think I've watched stormwater on this coast for particular other communities, but for Montara for a long, long time. And the county's attitude has always been, yeah, we don't need to do anything about it. And yet they are in charge of stormwater. And one of the reasons I have said for a long time that we don't want to incorporate is because we would then assume billions worth of debt for dealing with stormwater.
If I could comment on that, I spoke to 7 engineering firms so far in researching this stormwater report. And a senior partner at one of the firms, well-respected firm, said Sanitary County is the worst in the Bay Area at stormwater management. And of course, as the unincorporated area, we're part of that. There's another initiative that we began to try and assess the flow of funds to and from the mid-coast so that we can justify greater investment in infrastructure and support. for the unincorporated Midcoast. That effort is ongoing. I'll spare you the details, but again, our contributions not being recognized and the investments are not being made over here. So stay tuned.
Well,
So-
and let me interrupt, please. Sid.
Go ahead, interrupt.
I have watched people pave and rock and dam up all of these drainage ditches that we have in our communities. That's how you get water to feed your well. If you keep running it down the asphalt and into the ocean, it doesn't sink in and it doesn't take care of the groundwater that we so badly need. And it also makes it easier for saltwater intrusion to get into our wells. So one of the things I would like to see is actually facilities that the county could put in to recharge groundwater. Good.
Okay, so Greg, today at 4 o'clock, I attended the Parks Commission meeting and Burnett Silveria brought up the El Granada runoff that's coming out of Quarry Park again this year in the rain. And, you know, it was part of the Quarry Park master plan, but it got the brush off and they approved it without any mitigation measures at all. And that is still running, flowing down all the neighbors' street, 3 blocks and sandbags all the way. But I mean, they really don't want to deal with it. So that's one place they could definitely catch the off the overflow, or shall we say the stormwater flow, and sink it into Quarry Park area. There's so much acreage there that's not being used, but they're not dealing with it. So I don't know. Anyway.
Thanks for bringing that up, Sid. I was not aware that Parks had abrogated their prior statement of intent to deal with this. That's very disappointing. I'll talk to Burnett. I will comment that the project that the City and County Association of Governments is announcing and applying for a grant for in both Pescadero and San Bruno do involve large groundwater recapture efforts.
Right.
So they're aware of the concept and they're doing it elsewhere. They're spending the money elsewhere.
Well, unfortunately, CCAG doesn't really cover the unincorporated areas, and we don't have a city fighting for grant money. But they could have applied for the Midcoast, but they just didn't. So
That's
Last heard, the supervisors are pretty quick to say that they are our city council.
yeah. Well,
Just a reminder of how they represent themselves. Let's move on to down the report, CSDA or LAFCO, anything?
LAFCO is coming up in March. At CSDA, we had a meeting and we're getting organized.
Okay. Christine, anything for the attorney's report?
No report.
Okay, and any director's reports? No, general manager's report.
Yeah, first, my apologies for the lack of the operations report. We'll submit it with the next March meeting. I do want to point out that we have a new newsletter that will be sent out by next door via next door this evening or tomorrow, and we'll have this newsletter also up on our website tomorrow.
All right, great. All right, I see on future agendas, I see MWSD hydrants. Kind of a new item on the future list. Any background on that, Clemens?
We are going to talk about the state of the hydrants in Montara Water Sanitary District. And yeah, bring that item when
Okay. Great, I'd be glad to see it. All right, we are now finished with the open public session. We're going to take a brief recess. We're going to give our thanks to PCT again for being here and getting all of the sound and video to our community and up on the YouTube and other places. And in closed session, when we reconvene, we will we will discuss existing litigation with Half Moon Bay, And we'll also have conference with labor negotiators for our unrepresented employees. If we take any action, we'll report that out after we come out of closed session. With that, as I hope we do every time, I want to say thank you to the members of the public, our friends from other agencies, our consultants. Thank you for joining in and helping with the public process here tonight.
Peter, Medina, did you get the stuff after, the thing you were gonna add up?
Yes.
What was the total then for the anniversary?
Okay. Hard cost, $1,555.50.